prepared for this. I don't know what's happened to my video. Come on. My video is being very reluctant today. Is it? Ah, that'll do. Right, okay. Yes, evening all. And welcome to the BATC Net. This is the impromptu controller speaking. We've got to turn his light on. Yes, wasn't expecting this. Good. Right, I don't know what the problems with Dave are, but I guess if we construct our running lead order between ourselves, if we start with Mike, if you go after me, and then Colin after that, and then Martin, and if anybody else wants to join in the net, please come up on the chat and announce your presence. So parish news, get your CQTV articles in now. So if you've got anything you'd like us to publish, I'm going to have to write this down. If you'd like us to put anything in the magazine by the end of the month, let us know. Let us have it within the next week, please. The other good news, I did post in the shop, we've Serret have accepted our order for Serret have accepted our order for 400 tuners, so we should be back in business on that front. And Mr. Chiquette, that's good, thank you, Dave. Right, so news from this end will come in the second over, I guess, but I haven't been doing much. Well, I have. I've been doing BATC repeater testing and UK record beating on 122 gigs. I've got a video on that, but I'll show it next time round. So without further ado, my audio must be low. I'm surprised nobody's complained because I hadn't turned it up. Anyway, without further ado, we'll go to G0MJW. Dave was putting a running order up, and I expect him to pick up the net at the end of it, and I'll be back for another go at the end of it. Right, round to you, Mike. G0MJW.
Okay, we're doing it different. We're doing it different. Oh yeah, your audio was low. Your audio was lower than 11, that's for sure. Anyway, very good evening. Now, Mike's let me in because I need to get off to work, so I'll just do the one this evening, and then watch as long as I can before. Actually, that's the camera. There's too many C920s on here. There we are. That's because I'm looking over there. That's oh dear. Anyway, very good evening. What have I been doing? Well, we've been doing a bit more to the MacGuffin project. I've got to do something for the CQTV. John's done a sort of a little paragraph to go, so if I get a chance, I'll do that. But oh, we have something to show. Oh, the little tease going on there. Very good. Right, I haven't been doing much. I'm in the process. Thank you, Noel, for sending the PCB. Hang on, I've showed this on SQ and I put it all back together again. But thank you for sending the mini tuner board. I'm glad that oh, this is as far as I've got with it. I think it only came yesterday. But we've made some progress building another tuner. I had a tuner in stock. I got that one in case the advanced receiver project took off. So that's but I think that might be a little while. So I think it got to be designed yet. For, not the Winter Hill, but that board can be used for both the Winter Hill board. So I had a tuner ready for that, but I've been missing a mini tuner for a little while. I did have all the bits to do another one, but I ended up making a Ryde out of it. So I built this Ryde, which you've seen before. So that's an SQ backup, but really I use it over here. that one's got HDMI out, which we're not using currently on SQ. But I got so used to playing with the first one. The Ryde was so useful that I missed it terribly when I had to give it to the repeater. So then I had to build another one for the repeater. So then I didn't have one. So anyway, I got the Ryde over here for my own personal use, although it's set up to be an SQ backup should it be required. But I missed my little mini tuner. I have got other mini tuners, but they're all doing things. So whenever I need to grab one to look at signals and things, then I was one short. So I thought I'll just get another board, and so this is as far as we've got with it at the moment. It's actually theoretically it would actually work in this condition, but I want to put the extra. I need to do the extra board that goes in there for the LMB voltage and such like. So there it is. She's all done. I've actually done the front panel as well. So it's not finished because it obviously it needs. I like to put nuts on there, so with a washer the other side, so that it touches the front panel. But there she is. It slipped forward a tiny bit, back a tiny bit actually, because it's not held in at the moment. But anyway, it's there, and I've got this switch here for the second RT module. So the second module, when I have that manually switched to that's quite convenient, I find, if I'm not using sort of the mini tune necessarily. So I put that in, and I use the second one just to manually switch the LMB voltage. The other one is usually controlled by software. Because my other one of these, I actually converted to fiddle it to be a Mini Tuner S, or make the software think it's a Mini Tuner S. Thereby I can use both halves and have both LMB voltages controlled independently, using the BATC board to do that if it thinks it's it. But I didn't push that out to let people know, because it requires extensive surgery to your V2 board, and it needs lots of bits and pieces. So you're better off just get a Mini Tuner S if you want to play that game. Anyway, there we are. That's as far as we've got with that. She's nearly ready. I haven't put the link in yet because I haven't set that voltage yet, so that stays off until that's done. But that's as far as we got. I was mentioning yesterday that it doesn't take long to build one, which it doesn't, and it is a sort of lunchtime project. But that's as far as I got in a lunchtime. so there we go. Right, okay, that's it. So that's the excitement. But looks like there won't be at the minute. The BATC shop is out of stock, but say 400 on order. So I don't think there's going to be any concern at all. There's nothing to stop you building the rest until the tuners are back in. But that should see us through, I should think. Something else will probably be invented by then. Well, there we go. Anyway, there we are. That's what I've been up to. Right, that's probably long enough from this end, I fancy. Right. Is Mike taking it after me? Or did he say Gareth is taking it? Oh, Gareth's going next. I've held you up really. Anyway, this will be my only. Thank you. It's Gareth next. Yeah, I thought you'd said that. This will be my only appearance today because I'll have to scoot off to work fairly soon. Yeah, do it after I've left. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Right, okay then. Well, over to Gareth then. So Sem3s for now. Thanks for letting us in early, because that was helpful to me, because to get myself a bit organised to get off to work. It is pretty much eat, sleep, come in the shack, repeat, as as was mentioned earlier. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Right, there we go.
Sounds good. Keep my eye on that. Right, okay, let's have some human. There we are. Evening Audrey for XAT. Thank you, Colin. Hope you have as pleasant a possible work as possible. Various bits and pieces tonight. I wasn't going to do it in this order, but I bought a dish. It's an Andrews point-to-point link, 60 centimeters diameter on 24 gigahertz, and it also came with a rather nice back unit which clips onto the back of the whole shebang and incorporates, so as far as I can tell, a couple of transceivers, one there and another one there, I reckon. Anyway, more on that in a minute perhaps. Okay, let's try some presets. Right, I've been shopping. No, we don't want that one. Not that one. There we are. No, not that one. Right, that one. Okay, what we're looking at there is 1/2 of a 1250 watt DVB-T XBBC transmitter, or the PA. It's got a water-cooled heatsink, and it's got 12 pallets, and each one looks like, when it gets through, one of those. Okay, the device itself is rated at 130 watts of DVB-T, and it does that without batting an eyelid. And there's splitters galore and all sorts of things on the input side, and 12 individual outputs, so I haven't got that in, so they'll be coming off the board, so to speak. What else was I going to talk about regarding those? They've got rather an interesting pre-driver. That's the first thing I did, of course, was get all the covers off and see what I'd bought. And that's it there. It's actually a very similar device. It's got the same part number but a different suffix. And the difference between the two boards is each of those gates has its own bias, whereas the PAs themselves have got a single bias connection that seems to feed both gates. Anyway, good stuff. Now, right, okay, thanks Mike, I knew someone would know. Suffice to say, if we go back to the general view, that one there, the one with the box on it and the pink and black wire and the bit of SMA feeding in, that has been powered up on its own. It runs off 50 volts and the gate bias is about 2.5 volts, something like that. I just started at 0 and wound it up until I got the data sheet indicated current, and it goes like a rocket. Who's it made by? Amplion. It's hang on, I'll look for the data sheet. We should all be doing. It's a BLF 888A, and the pre-driver is a D. They both have different data sheets. Rather nice bits of gear now. Yeah, okay. 3 of them appear to have come from Elmley Moor, and 1 from somewhere in Wales. And Noel explained to me why they are surplus. They've got a 2017 build date on them, and they've got built-in power supplies, of 3-phase, but I powered up one of those, separated them all, powered one up, and it runs 12 volts for a little tiny fan, but nothing else, because there's a big backplane connection which I suspect needs some control signal to tell it to go. Right, okay. Now the list has got well and truly slaughtered, so it might be John G7JTT, or it might be Mike. I suspect it's probably Mike, isn't it? Yeah, right, okay. Round to you then, Mike. Have a test card. M0MJW to pick it up from G4XAT in the BATC Net.
Okay, give it a bit more power. Hopefully I'm getting out. I'm receiving myself anyway. So, should be working. Yeah, thanks Gareth. Gareth very kindly picked those up and he delivered them to me as well. I've been away, so I've not had any chance to do anything very much. But a few things to talk about first of all. So the bench camera. I've been working on a Dolphin. One that I got from Mark, GM4ISM. And I'm getting some power out of it, but it's saturating at about 80 watts. But according to Rob, I think that's probably about what you'd expect using its internal high gain stages. It needs about minus 9 dBm or so input to do that. But there you go. I showed that on the Sunday net, if anyone was seeing it. Also on there are 2 new PCBs for the amplifier controller. Which arrived last weekend. In fact, no, they arrived on Monday from JLC. So that's the corrected version, and hopefully that'll work. So that'll be ready for general interest if there is any. And I've got another shot of that, which gives you a better idea with the Polycam. And this is a C920, and this is a Polycom. Spot the difference. Yeah, well, Colin, I don't intend to run more than 50 watts. The reason for the low-level input is to use it for DATV, so I'm not going to convert it to 200 watts. I've got another one already that's actually only the final stages and needs 25 watts drive. That's the way to do that. And what is subtly in that image, apart from the Dolphin and the 2 PA boards, might become a little bit apparent when I switch the camera to camera 2. So that should go to camera 2 in a second. And as you can see, it's a logic board of great interest. It's got an Altera FPGA in it, and it's got quite a lot of other bits and pieces. Bits of intelligence, bits of memory, all sorts of stuff. Really, really interesting. But I guess probably what you want to see might be this, which looks very, very similar to what Gareth was just showing you. Now, I looked at this and I was trying to work out what's going on here. So let's go back down to the side. There are 2 of these driver stages. That is a 600 watt Doherty device used as the driver, and it's got a very interesting matching unit on it, but ignoring that, it's driving these 3, or the 3 on the right boards, but not the other 3. But the way it's organised, I think the outer 2 devices of those 6 are linear, and the other devices are probably the ones that are doing the Class C. So I think it's double Doherty, or maybe the other 2 are linear and the end one is Class C. I don't know, but it seems to be like that. And of course, there's another set of them there, and these are all sitting on a water-cooled base. So if I go up there, you can probably see that big thing. That's not an N-type connector. That is a water cooling input, and there's one on the other side, which I assume is the output, or the other way around. And on the other side of that piece of aluminium are another 6 of those PA blocks. And there's another driver, which I haven't taken the top off yet because I only got this yesterday. Thank you, Gareth, again. And that driver stage is the same as the one on the other side. And this is duplicated on the back of that, the back side of this heat spreader. So that would imply that there are 8 devices per side, or 16 in total on each unit. That's potentially 16 100 watt PAs, or possibly 8 200 watt PAs if you combine 2 of them. Now the devices themselves will do a lot more in CW, but we're only interested in TV, so that's not there. But looking at the circuit board, I didn't see anything that wouldn't survive higher powers. These are 24/7 1.2 kilowatt amplifiers after all, so they must be able to do 100 watts each. So there you go, that was that. What else is there to show? A few things. I'm not sure if I showed the loop or not, but so the side of that, I don't know if you, oops, going the wrong way here, is the magnetic loop that I built. Let me get myself out of the way. This is for HF. I built it using octagonal bits that I think I showed last week. So there you go. Right, I'm not sure I've got anything else of interest to show at the moment, and looking at the time, I've been going on far too long anyway, so let's pass it on. I think it goes to JTT. So round to you, John. G7 JTT, G0 MJW.
Right, so good evening all. Actually, I just literally wrote that down, Noel. It looks like we'll be doing the EME TV shortly, so yeah, those PAs look lovely, don't they? What my lips didn't call yours, I guess. Don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. Yeah, EME. They definitely look quite nice, those early PAs, don't they? So, and the loop, it's HF is something. I guess we all sort of started in a way. For me, it was because I couldn't sleep, and in my earlier days, TV used to switch off at 9 o'clock, and most radio stations would switch off at 10 o'clock as well. So I got a radio and I started listening to shortwave, and then from there I ended up listening to amateurs, etc., etc. Anyway, so yeah, I used to play around with it. And I think I said before, me and my friend Paul, G70 WS, we got hold of a B40, which is one of these VLF ex-submarine type things. Lovely thing it was. All the bands would be all the way down. It used to be clunk, 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 clunk to change the bands on it. Anyway, we used to sort of use it between the two of us, and we used to transport between each other's houses on a skateboard because we couldn't carry this thing. But anyway, so I just after Christmas treated myself to one of these Air Spy HF Plus Discovery things. Other things are available, obviously. I have got other ones here, but I am so super impressed with this thing. It just works so well. I've made loop stuff, I've made all sorts of things, but the two things that seem to be working extremely well at the moment, Mike, is a loop on ground, which works fairly well, sort of probably 80 up to about probably 30 meters or so, and that's only a 24 15 foot square, is it 15 foot? Yeah, I think 15 foot square loop literally laid on the ground, and it works very, very well. But the one thing that appears to work extremely well, and it was quite interesting because on one of the LF band forum things that I've joined, there was a couple other people that have discovered it as well. A disc cone works extremely well, as so I've now been told, as a capacitive probe, and on the VLF stuff, it works very, very, very well, to be honest. Quite often I can see things a lot deeper into the noise on the disc cone than I can on the ground on loop, or loop on ground, sorry, or any of the other, MFEG wires, etc., and loops that I've got. So yeah, quite good thing to bear in mind if you've got one sticking around there lost somewhere. What else will I do? Yeah, this week's been quite interesting. I've been off this week, which has been amazing. I've slept for most of it, to be honest, but I've managed to do some bits and pieces. And one of the things I've been doing is just scanning around the various different bands. And I've just got a couple of little things that I'm just going to show. This is one that I managed to receive. I can't forget the frequency. That's not the correct frequency up there, but I don't know how well that's going to come out. But if I just make that full screen for me, I can actually read it. It was a piece of Morse code within one of the shortwave bands. I think it was 49 meter band, if I remember rightly. But anyway, it says Cal Kremelkel, Krekel, must stop jamming other radio stations, a particular website, and it just goes into repeat itself again. And I did look it up. It appears to be a fairly frequent thing that appears on there, but it just tickled me that there was some CW within sort of a broadcast band, and I managed to decode it. So anyway, but that was that. But the one thing that's really been intriguing me of late is down on the very, very low frequencies. I'm pretty sure I'm receiving what I believe to be, and I can't pronounce this properly, but is it Takamo? Anyway, it's take action and move out signals, which, from my understanding, are aircraft that pretty much fly 24/7 and tow a 2.5 mile long wire behind them, and I think it was a 200 kilowatts transmitter at the back of them, and this is how they keep themselves announced, from what I understand. So even though I've got some very weird QRM around here, but which I have, but I've never seen this before, and it's pretty much on the frequency where you would expect to find this stuff. So yeah, just the thought that an aircraft is flying at 30,000 feet with 2.5 miles of wire stick behind it, it kind of lays back to when the old submarines used to do the same thing. And unfortunately, it's to drag a lot of trawlermen to their perils, because you don't know what's behind you, 2.5 miles behind you, do you? So it's just one of those things. And what was the other thing I was going to say? I'm hopefully going to be out at Portable tomorrow, albeit at a completely other end of the band. After seeing Noel and John and various outfits out on 122 gigahertz and optical stuff as well, and of course Rob getting back into it as well, I've managed to actually get some bits together and actually finalise some brackets and adapters and stuff to fit things together. So we're going to go out and play that tomorrow. So you may get to see some video of that as well, hopefully. So other than that, I don't think I've done anything else. I say mostly it's just been sleeping, just to catch up on the lack of it for the last umpteen months, etc. So, and I still haven't heard yet if I've got my life back or not. Even though Boris has decided that COVID is over, don't think the people I work for have actually been notified as yet. So it's as if I've still not quite got my weekends back yet. But anyway, we shall hopefully get them back before the CAC in August, was it? I'm pretty sure it was August. Right, okay, I'm just rambling. So around to Russ, I believe. And yeah, hopefully everything came across. Oh, apologies, it's quite weak tonight. I think the dish has moved again. So anyway, right, no further ado, round to Russ. Or should I remember this? Oh, it's SAQ, G4 SAQ, G7 JTT.
Okay. G7 JTT in the group, G4 SAQ. Yeah, all right. Well, thanks very much, John. I don't have anything radio to talk about this week. I was away all last week. I took all my family away to Gran Canaria for a week to celebrate my 70th birthday. And we all had a great time, apart from me. I'm afraid I got a stomach bug about halfway through, and I didn't dare stray too far away from the room. So there we are. But everybody else thought it was a great time. There we go. Yes, thanks for your congratulations, Mike. I did just about make it. What else was I going to tell you about? Oh, I know. This afternoon I tested my setup here for in preparation for tonight, and I found that I got jerky video again. This happened about 3 weeks ago, I think, and I never did get to the bottom of it. Some of you suggested that it might be Windows updating. Anyway, I checked, and this time Windows seemed fully up to date, and the antivirus was fully up to date. And I couldn't account for it, but I left the computer on for about an hour and came up and tried it again, and lo and behold, it was working perfectly. So perhaps it's because the computer hadn't been on for a while. It was performing some sort of optimization, I don't know. But whatever was going on, it seems to be okay now. So I'm pleased about that. I'm going to be busy for the next 3 weeks. I'm lifting my boat out tomorrow. Well, it's being lifted out for me. I've got to get down there about 7 o'clock in the morning and take it up the river to the yard where they're going to lift it. And the first job will be to the yard will pressure wash it down, and then I shall have to prepare the underwater surface for repainting with anti-fouling paint. My wife and I do that every year. It's not something we look forward to, but it's a worthwhile economy doing it ourselves. And this year I've got to change some seacocks that are getting rather old, and it's not too much of a job to do, but access is very difficult from the inside of the boat. These things are tucked away in the most inaccessible places, and the only way to deal with it is to take an angle grinder to the outside, remove the heads of the bolts, and then tap them through. And that worked well last year, apart from the fact that the backing pads, plywood backing pads on the inside of the boat, decided to disintegrate, and so I had to make up new ones. And I'm anticipating the same problem will happen this year with the other set. But there we are. These things keep us busy. So I reckon the next 3 weeks I'm going to be busy mucking around with things on the boat, and shan't really get any radio done. Let's have a look. I've got some advice from John here. Right click Windows Start, then click on Task Manager to see what's using resource. Yeah, that's a good point, John. I must give that a go. Okay. Without any more ado, I'm going to put it round to Charles, because I shall be rambling otherwise. G4GUO to take it. This is G4SAQ. I'm going to put up a test card, and as soon as I see that, I shall drop carrier.
Oh dear, I'm not seeing any pictures of myself. Well, anybody seeing me? Because it's not appearing on Minitune at this end. So I don't know what's gone wrong. Go away. All right, well, I'll just ignore Minitune then. Fine. Thanks there, Russ. All very interesting, all this boaty stuff. I used to have a friend of mine that was heavily into boats. And he lived in the Channel Islands, and he tried to get me to go on one of those four-masted training ships, HMS Raleigh or whatever it's called, and I decided that I might live next to the sea, but I don't live on the sea, and gave that one a miss. What have I been up to? Well, no TV stuff, I'm afraid. I put up a end-fed half-wave antenna for 40 and whatever. Of course, it's not resonant on 40. It seems to be resonant on 5.5 megs for some strange reason. Cut the wire to the right length, but some reason or other it's not correct. So did a bit of FT8, boo hiss. So I thought I'd give that a try to see what everybody's complaining about. I worked about 3 or 4 stations, decided it was exceedingly boring, so gave up on that. And with all the what's been going on in the news recently, I thought I'd dig out my old automatic link establishment software, and I tried to recompile it, and of course that's when the trouble started. It seems as if the serial control module I was using has been deprecated by Microsoft because it's a security risk. So I then had to go and look at some silly video on YouTube on how to override the Windows 10 security to get the serial access back again. So managed to do that, but that's about as far as I've got with it. I spend an awful lot of time on that automatic link establishment software, and although it's used by Mars, that's the military affiliated radio service in the United States, they use a modified version of it, and anybody that's got an SCS Pact or Dragon modem or something that has got my software in it. It's licensed. The port was done by a guy in the States, but the actual code in it is derived from my software. So, anyway, as I was saying, the automatic link establishment software, I haven't used it that much. I did some stuff with there's a HF Net, which is a worldwide amateur ALE net, but like everything I do, I get, once I've had one contact on it, I lose interest. And I did a modified version of the software, which I supplied to the cadet forces for their national radio net. Ran that for about a year, but unfortunately nobody seems to use their national radio net. It's the only people that are on it are the old codgers that and not the cadets, which rather defeats the object of the exercise, I suppose. But nice to have a cadet force call sign again for a few months while I was doing some testing with that. But with that, I added all the encryption software, which obviously we can't use on the amateur bands. It has link protection, which is designed to prevent spoofing attacks from the enemy. And once you go into the data transfer phase, I added AES encryption of the data traffic, but we can't use it on the amateur band. So although it was fun coding it, it's not much use for anything. Right. Well, I think it's Martin next, so I'll hand it round to him. And because I can't see my own picture, I won't know when it's time to drop carrier. So I apologise if I waffle on for too long with the test card there. That must be enough.
Yeah. I thought that worked rather well, actually, Charles. G4GUO, G4FKK. I'm just going to quickly test this again. Hang on a sec. Oh, that's near enough. There's lots of lip unsyncing going on this evening. Charles and Russ were spot on, but most other people weren't. But anyway, good evening all. Nice to see you. I won't drone on because I've done nothing radio, but I do have a question for you, Dave, GKQ, if you're got your ears on, old man. I was talking to Gary earlier, ZS6 Yankee India, who is trying to organise streaming of the worldwide net on a Sunday, and he was asking me if the Ryde receiver puts out sound and vision on its HDMI output. I thought it did, but I could be entirely wrong there. When he tries that, when he tries to use the sound via an HDMI to USB adapter, apparently the sound is very low level and sounds like Donald Duck, was the nearest description he could give me. So I wonder if... Tim's saying it does do that. Well, there must be something else. Maybe it's his HDMI to USB adapter. I tried it on my my HDMI to USB adapter, but not with a Ryde, but with a video camera, and it does seem to work. Ah, you're using it like that right now. Excellent. Well, I might drop you an email then, Tim. Although it does sound to me, if it's supposed to work, then maybe it's Gary's adapter. Anyway, that was that question. I think Tim's already answered it, Dave. So cancel that one. Colin's probably gone, but glad to hear you're building another receiver, Colin. And well, I like the look of that new dish, Gareth. If you get bored with it, you could knock some dents in it and play the steel pan with it, by the look of it. And the 70 Sems amps look fabulous. And it looks like Mike's got them too. And I think Noel, by the sound of it. Mike, you were saying the Dolphin saturates at 80 watts. Is that 80 watts of digital television? Or is that... because I can get about 200 watts out of mine on sideband. The Dolphin, that is. The new PCBs look very good. And John, yeah, the B40 receiver. I had a B40C. That was my first proper radio. I spent the first 2 years on top band using an old jumble sale medium wave radio with its oscillator tweaked to receive AM on top band and CW. You could put another medium wave radio next to it and use that as a direct conversion receiver. But God, they were heavy, weren't they? My theory was that they had them on submarines so that they could throw them out when they wanted to come up to the surface. Beautifully made, though. Those turret tuners were a work of art, weren't they? On VLF, I've been using an E-field probe, which is just basically a sort of 1-inch square piece of copper with a lot of gain after it, and that works very well on LF. And I guess that's sort of how your aerial you mentioned, the name of which escapes me now, but that's very good. Russ, happy birthday! I don't know when your birthday was. It was my birthday on Monday, but not a significant number. Well, only to me, obviously. And I'm really sorry to hear you got the dreaded bug while you're on holiday. That's typical, isn't it? And good luck with the boat. I don't know how long that's all going to take. But hopefully it'll all be good. And you'll find this with bits of wire, Charles, that you can do the calculations and measure it to the nearest 0.5 millimetre, and it's still 0.5 meg off frequency. So that's just HF, though, isn't it? And FT8. Well, your diagnosis of FT8 was the same as mine. I tried it on 4 meters for a bit, and I thought, well, this is very dreary, isn't it? It used to be a lot of. There was some air cadets lived near here a few years ago. I think they're probably still there, but I haven't heard them lately, because I imagine they've all been locked away for COVID purposes. But they used to be quite active on the 5 meg band. Right. Well, apart from to say I fixed a 1926 pocket watch today, nothing else to report. So with that, I'll put it round to you, Dave, G8GKQ, and the BATC Net G4FKK.
Well, here we go then. Do I have audio? Obviously, good. My apologies for earlier from G8GKQ. At 5 to 8, it all worked. At 4 minutes to 8, it didn't. I was playing with something else in the shack, and I think it was an earth loop through the USB. After 2 reboots of the laptop, I finally got the audio system back online. But I've been thinking about it. I'm going to have to put in an isolation transformer, because it's the second time that's happened to me. An audio isolation transformer. Okay. Good to hear about the ALE, Charles. I wonder if you've actually picked up anything interesting on that once you finally got it working. Those PAs do look amazing. The Dolphins, there's discussion about 50 watts of DVB-S2 at reasonable shoulders is what I reckon out of mine. And I drive mine, I think I go in at fairly high power with mine. I don't use much of the driver stages. I think I go in at the driver, not the pre-driver or something. Russ, sorry to hear about your holiday, but congratulations on the 70th, and please everybody else had a good time anyway. Gareth, that dish is going to be a monster to point on 24 gigs. Really is. With it. Noel, thank you for stepping in earlier. Most of the work in the last week has been working with things related to the repeater controller that Noel's been working on. Did some updates to the the video to HDMI unit, so that is now configurable and seems to be reasonably reliable. Did some updates to the repeater controller. Apparently, I think I need to do a little more work on it, but we're very nearly there. The functionality is there anyway. And also gave a talk to Cheltenham Amateur Radio Society by Zoom. Thanks to John and Charles for supporting me on that one. You were spotted. However, I've actually got around to doing some Portsdown stuff. The latest development build now has support for the 5-inch screen, and you can see that over my right shoulder running. And the other thing I've done is get the web interface that I demonstrated last week properly working. So let's give you a quick demo of that. So when you go to the browser, type in your Portsdown address, you'll get this screen up. And now if you go to touchscreen, hang on a minute, I just need to bring up the right window because you can't click on it in OBS, it doesn't work. Go to touchscreen, you get that screen, and then you can go to menu 2 or menu 3 or look at the info, all that sort of stuff. The only thing it doesn't do is moving pictures. So if you try and receive or transmit with it, it'll just show you the menu, except on the receiver pages. This one hasn't got a receiver plugged into it, mini tuner plugged into it, where if you're doing UDP or MER optimization, it will show you the MER. So you can have this thing on your network, have your mobile phone on the same network, take your mobile phone out to the dish, and you've got a handheld MER display right next to your dish. So that's fairly handy. That's out in a development build at the moment, and once I get a few more comments, it will go into the main build. Yep, smartphone controller Portsdown, as you say, Noel. So that's been the main activity. Noel got the right notices. The ESP clearly worked. Thanks, Noel. The deadline for CQTV is Monday the 14th of March, so please send any articles you've got to Noel or myself or the editor. We'll make sure they get to the right place. And don't forget the activity weekend, which isn't this weekend, but the weekend after, 23 SEMS and above. So with that, background to Noel, G8GTZ and the net, G8GKQ.
Right. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. So, pardon me, interesting around there. Pardon me. The PAs, first of all, look. I'm going to have a good cough, I think. Right, got that out of the way. I haven't got some of those PAs, Martin, but I did have prior knowledge of them. And they're from what's known as the 700 meg clearance. When the TV, I said this earlier on, the TV used to be 470 to 860 megahertz. And the government, in their wisdom, realised that digital meant that we used less spectrum, so then they could sell off some of the spectrum, and the 800 megs plus spectrum went first. And that was about 10 years ago when they reorganised Freeview, and more recently the 700 to 800 meg spectrum went. It's called the 700 meg clear out, and that's where all the amplifiers and stuff came from. So yeah, but very, very nice. And 50 volts though is a bit of a pain, isn't it? There we go. Mike knows more about it than I do. So Dolphin mods, yes, I presume everybody does the Rob mods. What's been touted as Rob mods. Mine arrived in a box yesterday, just to prove I've joined the club. Ding. So I need to do the mods, but I presume. See, these guys have got a different mentality. They always think just plug it into the mains at home, whereas I always think, how am I going to power that off a generator? Yes, thanks, Mike. Yeah, I know yours looks very different, but yeah, I should do the mods and probably retain the form factor. So it's I presume Rob's are the mods, but people can comment about that. I was reflecting, actually, if you look at that list, I think we could retitle it South of the M4 BATC Net if it wasn't for Mike. He's the sole representative of the north of England tonight. Right, what have we been doing? Well, we've been doing a bit of 122. In fact, we went out last Friday. Sorry, I must stop reading the chat. We went out last Friday, three of us, and the idea was to see if we could do some 122, and in fact, we did, and that's me. I had a visitation of two amateurs on the way to the pub, one of which was Mr. GKQ, and that's me on top of a hill in Western Hampshire. Anyway, what we were doing, we were working a path which was 36.44 kilometres, and that takes the UK. Takes the 122 record for the UK. And I actually played around with something very interesting. I was using SDR Sharp as the receiver, and I recorded some INQ files. Then I discovered that I knew you could play them back in SDR console, and the great thing about being INQ files, you're basically recording that chunk of the RF spectrum, and so you can then tune around in the SDR program to just like you can if it's live. But the really neat thing about SDR console is it just gives you an idea, Mike, of what the hills look like. The neat thing about SDR console is that there's a button on there called Make Video, and what it does is it just records the audio and the video of you tuning around. So this is a video of the 122 experiments we did last week, and I'll try and talk as I show it. So one of the interesting things we did was host Ryde, and where it's tuned right now, you see that very weak signal trace. That's Dave G1EHF. Dave G1EHF running host Ryde. That's his VK3CV unit, similar to mine. And very, very weak signal. But a key in host Ryde, if you listen carefully, you can affect feedbacks. That's better. Anyway, that was Dave. It was Dave G1EHF signal. And what I'm doing now is I'm just measuring the noise floor. If you look in the top right hand corner, it tells you it's 12 dB. I'll skip the video on over just a bit, because the next thing is that John G8ACE came on and switched his multiplier transmitter on, and that was absolutely enormous. And that's how quiet FM. And actually Dave G1EHF two signals on the band. You've got John to AJC's multiplier signal, and Dave to VHF's smaller signal on the left-hand side of the screen. But it shows that John had about 20 dB over, and actually 20 dB in hand, and that's at 36.44 kilometers. So I reckon John is good for at least another probably 10k, and I wouldn't be surprised that John showed ACE and Richard GHC, who also runs 122 high power stuff. We'll get in there and pinch that record back very quickly. But that's David there came up. So now you can see the difference between the two signals. Anyway, there we go. That's what I get up to in my spare time. And so that'll be interesting to some people. And tomorrow, yes, we're going out doing optical with John. So if I get a feeling a little bit. Right, okay, I shall leave it at that. And a very, very useful facility on SDR console though, really good. Right, around to a Gareth, and I don't think I've got any more, so I'll leave it for tonight unless there's anything specific to come back on. HETZ.
Very good. Thank you, Noel. G4XAT picking it up. And very good. Thank you, Noel. G4XAT picking it up. Be quiet. That's better. Right. Okay. Right. Well, I've taken the mounting bracket off the dish. It came with all its hardware. Like I said, it's brand new in a box. I've got a huge bag of enormous grade 8mm bolts. So I don't think it'll sway much if I can bolt that to something solid. And I also took the opportunity to take the radome off so you can have a look inside. The spec sheet says that it's 40 dB gain, which will do nicely, and 1.5 degrees beam width. So in many respects that's why I've been concentrating on getting rid of the slack in my tilt system. But I think with a bit of care it will work. If anybody wants one with the back unit, which I showed earlier, it also came with its controller, brand new. And I've read the manual. Well, I say I've read the manual. I found the manual and skipped through it, and the power level can be configured all the way up to 50 milliwatts. So I think I'll probably only be using the launcher or whatever it's called, the transition. If people want a 30 centimetre dish, he's got some of those stacked in his garage as well. If you contact me on the forum or email, I can share you his phone number, and you can do the deal off eBay. Brand new in a box. It used to work for them. Where they've come from, I didn't bother asking. Okay, right. I'll go back to what I was going to do now. And here we are. Right, that's what I've been working on today. I've been doing kitchen for 3 days, so I came back last night. That is my weather box, courtesy of Barry's software, which I showed the other week, I think. And that's a keypad hold down, and that's a box which it all fits in very nicely. I can't find the box listed. I mean, I bought them three for 15 quid delivered off eBay from somebody. But the size is 200 by 120 by 55 or 56. and it's got a sealing gasket around it as well, and it's quite thick ABS. It's quite a nice box. I've made it the tilt feet so that it leans slightly back, and that's mainly for 122 gigahertz. But since it's got a GPS in it that tells you down to the nearest, whatever it is, 10 metre square that you're parked in, it's going to be a useful bit of kit. And next to it is a nice little 10 megahertz temperature controlled oscillator, which has arrived from China. It came in a fairly huge box for something that small, so I'm a bit puzzled why, but it was at least very well packed indeed. Okay, the amplifiers, if you read the data sheet on that MRF device, it talks about getting rid of the heat from it if you're going to run CW more than 250 watts. Interestingly, the two outer devices, as described by Mike, haven't got bolt down screws on them. They just appear to be, the PCB seems to be screwed down, and they're relying on a bit of, well, I don't know, I haven't taken one off yet, but they will be coming to bits. I've tried to fathom out the combiners, or rather the splitters at the input, but they don't follow my limited understanding, I should say, of Wilkinson combiners or anything. But it would be nice to try and keep enough of those splitters to run 2 amps in parallel, and possibly 4, as somebody mentioned, EME. Stuff like this doesn't crop up very often, although it may well do, because 20 of these sold recently for not a lot of money, like £100 each, to somebody who bought the whole lot, and some Roden Schwartz 500 watt ones. They went for even more money, and I suspect there'll be a lot of them around. So keep your eyes open. They're heavy, 27 kilos. The power supplies, there's 3 beautiful 50 volt and other voltages power supplies in there, but someone will have to find the diagram or work out how to enable the 50 volt bit. But to be honest, 50 volt power supplies are freely available. I have several here, acquired over the months of the last couple of years or so. The best one to go for is an L-Tech. It's 2000 watts, and if you buy an interface board you can limit the current and you can turn the volts down. I think the lowest is 43, so it's not bad, but they are quiet, unlike the thing I'm using at the moment. They really are very, very good, but yes, you'll need a generator, but let's be honest, if you want to run RF, well, having said that, of course the Toshiba amp I've got will run fine off 12 volts. Whatever. Okay, I'm waffling, so I don't know how long you want to sit looking at that. My apologies again. Let's go to the shack cam instead. Transition that. Yeah, that's the one, Mike. I don't know what I said. Been a long day. Right, test card time, and round to you. Tell us more, Mike. I'd love to know more about GBC. So M0MJW to pick it up from G0MJW. My apologies, from G4X.
Right, hopefully I've got some audio. Yep, good. Right, so, hi again everyone. Try not to speak for as long this time, sorry about that. And the lip sync, miles out, sorry. I've just got rid of the delay completely now because something's changed with the new version of OBS. There you go. Right, going back to this amplifier, if you look at the splitters, so the two on the ends are indeed different. They haven't got any screws in them. I don't know if you can see that. You should be able to see it actually. But what we got at the bottom are these sort of splitter combiner things, and they appear to be run in pairs. The two centre ones are two different pairs, and then the ones at the end are run differently. So you need to try and work out what that is. But if we wanted to run a pair, or indeed four, I think we've got the splitter on the input side already for two. So that's possibly an option. I don't know. I don't know if you can really make that out. Maybe I need to position the camera a little bit better, or perhaps I could. Can I be bothered to stand up and go and look at it? What I'm trying to show is here. Which one are we on? This one or that one? Right. These two are run off one line here, and these two are run off the same. And this is the bit I can't quite understand, because we've also got this end one which appears to be running off this, but in a different way to these two, and it's the same in the other direction. So it'll be something to do with linearization, I don't know. Now on the other side of this, Gareth mentioned them, I guess people haven't seen them yet, so sorry for the clumsy moving about, but they're not the lightest of beasts. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can see that. There are the three-phase power supplies, three of them, 50-volt power supplies. Oops. That's a little bit too much zooming there. But you get the idea. Those fans, by the way, which I don't know if you can see those at the top, they're metal. There's a bus bar that gets thicker and thicker, and each one of these is a 50-volt power supply, and they're all paralleled up. So you're not going to need more than one of those for any reasonable amateur application. So there's three power supplies in there which run off 240 volts, even though it's three-phase. It's the way they're configured. There's three of them off the three phases. So that's that. Now the other point was the LTEX, and I don't know if I can manage this or not. So let me just try turning the camera around. Is this going to work? Oops. Can't remember which camera it is now. Comes past me. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Zoomed in so you don't see that much. And if I go up, here we go. So these two things here, I've put them in a box. These are the LTEC power supplies, flat packs. 48 volts. One is a 3 kilowatt one, and the other is a 2 kilowatt one. They're quite small, and they use the CAN bus, Charlie Alpha November. So you just have to write a little bit of software in Arduino code, and that's available. Someone's reverse engineered it, and you can get all the data from them, and they can be controlled between about 43 and 57 volts. Oh, and they soft start, which is very nice. They'll set a current limit if you want. They'll do all sorts of nice things, and they're quiet. That's the other thing. I don't know about RF quiet, but they're certainly quiet audio-wise. So there you go. And above them is one of my little power measuring devices. So there we go. Not much else to say. So 7.3 everybody. The reason that they probably don't start up is they'll probably have an enable line, so we need to work out where that is, but they don't look to be too intelligent, so it shouldn't be too hard. Right, who's next? John, I think, G7JTT. Over to you, John, G0MJW.
Right. Yeah, those PAs are quite huge, actually, aren't they? it was quite interesting actually. As you stood up and then put your hand there, actually put in perspective of just how big they are. So up to there, I didn't appreciate quite the size of them. But anyway, to Noel, something that John ACE said the other day about doing your optical stuff in the daylight, to remember to take a mirror with you if the sun was out. Well, back when I used to play around with lasers, which is now frowned upon, I used one of these, which is a cheap and cheerful spot lamp, which you can pick up at any car type place or boot sale or whatever you want to try and find. But you replace the halogen bulb with a xenon flash type bulb. And if I do this, well, it's going to come out on the... No, it's not going to come out. But you can see that it's flashing. And believe you and me, that can be seen at quite a distance. So let's turn it off. So that's something you may want to consider as well. To Charles, yeah, I wonder if that's worth me digging my PK232 out, because I'm pretty sure that had Pactor and all the rest of it on it. So not quite sure how I would interface to it anymore, or in fact if there's any software for it anymore. But yeah, there certainly is a lot of military data modes about at the moment for obvious reasons. Yeah, okay, no, yeah, well, yeah, I'm old school, like I say. But anyway, back to sorry, VLF again. I'm just going to quickly show the difference between the various materials that I have access to here. So that is my home built mini whip, whatever you call it, E-Pro, but it's optimized for 8 kilohertz. So you'll see the peak is on the left hand side there. I think the cutoff is about 20 some odd kilohertz on this thing. So that's that particular one. The ground on loop is this, and bear with me because I have to change bits and pieces. So the ground on loop, once I get it up to the same sort of, you'll see it's much flatter across on there, but we're getting this interference at 15 kilohertz, which is probably some sort of switch mode type noise. But when you then go over to the disc cone, which acts as a capacitive, whatever I said earlier, you'll see actually it ain't too bad. That's pretty darn good, to be honest, because you'll see in there, for example, that particular one there, that is the UK one, which the ground on loop wasn't seen at all. And that one there, that's an Italian one, which is wasn't seen. That may have just switched on actually, which is the Norway. But sorry, this is the problem trying to do things live. So you'll see there that the disc cone doesn't do too bad. And even when you get up to if I go, assuming this doesn't crash now, if it crashes, I've been having all sorts of problems with SDR Sharp lately. It seems to crash. It's crashed, yep, so forget it. Yeah, I seem to have a bad sorry, no, yeah, I was flashing all sorts of things, but anyway, we're going down there. Yeah, I don't know what it is, SDR Sharp at the moment. I think there's a bad plug-in or something, because it crashes fairly constantly at the moment, which is a shame, because it really is a very, very nice piece of software. SDR console I like, and yet it has got a lot more bits like with a video record, etc., etc. But it's not quite as tailored to the AirSpy products, so it's a shame really. But anyway, I'll get to the bottom eventually. I'm sure there was something else I was going to say. Oh yes, I do remember that actually. Right, so sorry, this is going to be almost 80 metre net-ish, so I apologise in advance. I don't know how many others suffer from this, but I think most people know that I suffer from tiredness and the inability to sleep. So my eyes in the morning, I spend most of the day rubbing them and trying to clear out all the crud and stuff that gets into your corner of your eyes. Trying to clear it out all day long. And it drives me mad. It makes it quite sore, or makes the eyes quite sore. So we were out shopping the other day, and the missus said to me, "Oh look at this! It's I won't say the brand, but it's some particular brand of eye drops." She says, "Oh, this is what you need. Get some of this." So I thought, okay, we'll get some of that, and hopefully that might be able to wash it out in the morning and save me having to keep rubbing my eyes to clear the crud out of the corner of my eyes. So I gets back home and I start reading the instructions on it, and then looked at I looked at the ingredients first, and the first thing that caught my eye was that it's got boric acid in it. When I looked at it, it's actually for whitening your eyes, not making your eyes more or less tired, shall I say. But boric acid, who would put acid into their eyes? I've no idea. So I've not used it, not going to use it. And she's looking at me and she's just heard me. So I've been caught out. But anyway, so there we go. Bit of an 80 metre net type stuff. Right, with that, I've not got much else to say. Round to Russ. G4 SAQ, G7 JPT. Let's just see if I can put a test card up. Shall we try?
Right. Myself this time. I'll just mute the audio. I trust everybody can hear me. Yeah, okay, there, John. Well, this isn't 80 meters, but I had blepharitis problems with my eyes, and what the consultant at the hospital suggested is to use baby shampoo to wash your eyes because it doesn't sting, and give them a good scrub with that morning and evening, and it might cure your problems. Yeah, as far as Dave's concerned, no, I haven't heard anything interesting on HF. I've just been fiddling around compiling the software. But I do have some stories from when I was doing this professionally, when like accidentally triggering responses from the Malaysian Navy. Well, actually, that was in the 18 meg band. I sent out what's called a global AnyCall, which is the station's. It's a sort of general address like a CQ call, but the stations respond in random time slots. And I got a load of Malaysian Navy vessels responding to my transmissions. It was in the 18 meg band. I didn't realise it was a frequency that was being used by the Malaysian Navy. So I quickly disconnected from them. I sent a clear message and tootled off somewhere else. But when I was working at Marconi's, we used to regularly communicate with the US Air Force on their global network. Mainly in the UK, it's at Croughton, RAF Croughton. But also in Sweden, they used to run a mailbox, an ALE mailbox, and you could leave messages on that. It's not running now, but it was a few years ago. talking about Sweden, there's the HF Nordic conference this year, which is it's all military comms, but that's quite interesting. I haven't been to one, but I get the what's it called, the papers and everything after the conference and have a read through them to see what's going on as far as fourth generation ALE and stuff like that's concerned, and all their transmitting video in the 5 meg band and things like that. I was actually looking at the Mil Standard 110D, which is the high-speed modems that the Americans or NATO uses, but it's 265 pages long. So I didn't really want to print that off, and it's a bit hard on the eyes staring at it all the time. Apart from that, not much else. Well, I think that's it from me, really. Nice to hear everybody. I don't get on that much, obviously. I had someone round telling me how much it was going to cost to put solar panels on the house this afternoon. They can't do it till September. And I said, well, I'm missing the summer. Bit late putting them up in September, but never mind. Right, I think it's Martin next, so I'll hand it round to him. As I said, I can't hear my own audio this time. This mini tuner program, I think it's past its sell-by date now, so I'll just go to a test card, and then as soon as I see the test card, I'll kill off the try and kill. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, fine, Charles. G4 GUO, G4 FKK are returning. Just turn the audio down. Yeah, I wonder if it is the OBS update, Mike. You were suggesting there was an OBS update which might be causing all the lip sync issues. I don't know. I haven't updated mine for ages because it seems to work like it is. So, and you know, I've already bottled out of upgrading to, well, changing to Windows 11 yet. So I ought to get on with that sort of thing. Yeah, Charles, interesting on triggering the Malaysian Navy there. Excellent fun. I mean, terrible news. And I don't know if, because I used to work at Marconi's, I don't know if we've spoken about that before, because my memory's fading gently. But, that was my first proper job, actually, was at Marconi in Hackbridge, who used to make quartz crystals and filters and oscillators. And then I did the Marconi apprenticeship in Chelmsford. Well, I did the first year of it in Chelmsford. So I wonder if you went through the same thing and then found yourself in the pit with all the lathes and milling machines when you thought you'd gone to do electronic engineering. That was the best thing I ever learnt, though, was down the pit at Marconi's. Everything else I've learnt subsequently has been of no use to me whatsoever, generally speaking. Dave, thanks for your input, along with Tim, about the HDMI to USB adaptering and the 32 killer things as well. So I shall have a chat with Gary tomorrow, and we can try a few things anyway. The Portsdale stuff is excellent, by the way. I've only just done the updates. I haven't done a proper test yet, but it's looking very good. And okay about the activity weekend as well. Yeah, Noel, the 700 megs clearance. Well, I'm beginning to regret something now, because when they started doing that, I got offered the chance to project manage that from the English region's point of view, which I instantly turned down. I always made it a rule at work. I never did anything to do with RF, because that's my hobby. So studios, audio and all the rest of it, that's fine. But yeah, even some telly, but not RF. So I turned that down, and we did the the Vylor project instead. Anyway, that's another story. And SDR console and its IQ streams is very very handy. Gareth, I wonder if that 10 meg TCXO's got a voltage tweak on it, because then I could put one of those in my GPS locking ding dong. What was the other thing? Oh, John, yeah, you and your light bulbs. I did once do some experiments. It was before I was licensed, and my dad had a very long garden, and then there was another very long garden at the end of his garden, and the house at the far end of that garden belonged to Jan, G5 Alpha Charlie Alpha, when Dutch stations, any station that wasn't British, got given a G5 call sign. And we used to talk on light bulbs, torches basically, amplitude modulated torches, and the sensor was an OC71 with the paint scraped off. So I seem to remember it worked quite well. I was very pleased, very impressed. Boric acid. Well, according to Mike, it's completely safe, so I wouldn't try that if I were you. And Charles, our local council, I thought, this is good. They sent a flyer around about solar panels. I was thinking, excellent. Perhaps they're going to pay for me to have some solar panels on the roof, like they did for my son, in fact, in South Wales. But no, they just want to. They want to help us out by finding a company who'll do it for us at huge expense. I don't doubt. Right, I think that's enough from me. So I'll put it round to you, Dave. I'll be watching for a little while, and hopefully see you all again next week, and some of you on Tuesday. G8GKQ to take it with the BATC Net. G4FKK. Cheerio.
G4FKK and the net G8GKQ. Okay, well, thanks everybody for all the interesting contributions. Yeah, Ryde HDMI. I only found out, Martin, that HDMI has varying audio rates when I was trying to ensure a constant stream from the prototype repeater, which one thing occurs to me, Noel, have you noticed any problems switching to the composite video Raspberry Pi? Because I'm not sure I set the stream audio, the HDMI audio to be the same. I'm not sure I even can, but it's one thing I might take a look at. Okay, on the HF, Charles, yeah, my only use of military HF has actually been single sideband from a notch aerial in the wing of an aircraft. Your problems with Minituner, Charles, why don't you get Longmind and VLC running on Linux? It's fairly easy to do. You just need to make sure that you empty the status FIFO. As long as you send that to DevNull, that you can get a TS out of Minituner quite easily, and that would solve all your problems, especially if you disable the hardware decoding in VLC. OBS lip sync. I updated OBS tonight, and that was not the source of my problems. And OBS seems to retain my lip sync settings between updates, so I'm not sure what's up with that. And everybody's talking about lights. I got these out of a old cooker hood I junked about a year ago. LED lights. I finally got round to checking they work tonight. I'm going to wire them up so they'll run off 12 volts just in case we get a power cut, because I can run those for quite a reasonable time. Thanks for your answer, Noel. That's good. Okay, well, thanks to everybody for coming on. Please remember to come up with your CQTV articles and get them sent in. It really would be good to keep the magazine full of content. and look forward to seeing you all next week. So GHGKQ are closing the BATC net, leaving the frequency clear for any takers. Good night. Right. So that's my bedroom mirror at 36.44 kilometers. I was in the sun and worked out where it's flashing, and you could follow it across the field and up to the horizon. But that is just a standard mirror. That's pretty impressive. So actually that picture is taken just on the outskirts of Basingstoke, Mike. Actually where John will be going tomorrow. It's just above the M3. So there we go. Anyway, that's my bedroom mirror. So with that, I'll say 73s and see you all next week.